Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of DiversiTEA. We are so thankful to have you, and we really appreciate you stopping by. As always, I am joined by my co-host, Evelyn Nitch-Griffin.
That's me.
Evelyn, who do we have here today with us?
So today we're joined by Denise Burchsted. She's a new professor in environmental science, and we're really excited to have her. She's been here for a little bit longer than some of our previous guests. We're so excited to have her. Denise, we're happy that you're joining us on the show.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
One of the things that we do this for is because we want to just talk to people. We want to get an idea of who you are, what you like, and what you bring to campus. But before we get into any of that, there's always the first question we start with, which is, what kind of tea are you drinking?
My tea is a blend that we crafted at home.
You crafted your own tea at home?
We grow the lemon balm, and it has Tulsi, holy basil tea in it. It's so good.
You grow your own lemon balm?
Lemon balm is a weed, so grow is a strong term for what we do with it. Yeah. Yeah.
So impressive.
Yeah.
Where did you start making your own tea?
That shouldn't be a hard question. I don't know. Since I got interested in weeds. As one does, you look at your lawn and think, which ones of those can I drink? Don't you?
I mean, I want to hear more about what, for my own lawn, what should I be looking to drink? Besides, the grass and the dirt.
Honestly, I don't think I drink any lawn herbs.
I'm upset. I thought for sure.
That was total trash, yeah.
Oh.
But I use plantain all the time for healing bug bites. Plantain is one of the most common weeds. White man's footstep, because it followed the settlers, and it's a plant that grows in land that's disturbed. Like the colonists would come in, they would disturb the land, and the plantain would grow. And it is an herb that heals inflammation. As it turns out, it's like this really wonderful herb that's beautiful for healing inflammation, is an herb that was brought along as a great deal of pain came. Mm-hmm. And the indigenous folks have incorporated it. They consider it like naturalized, right? It's part of the indigenous to North American medicine now too. Yeah, mm-hmm. So plantain's awesome. Violets are awesome.
What about aloe?
Aloe is not on my lawn. But aloe are in pots in my house and in my office. Yeah, we've got a bunch of them in the STEM building.
I love aloe. That stuff is great. And this stuff can heal anything. So, Denise, we're dying to know, what's your landmark origin story?
I don't know how to tell the story. I know Carrie Kalich. We were colleagues, and I took a break from teaching for a couple of years and was ready to do some more teaching again. Mm-hmm. And she said, I know where you could do that.
What were you doing during your break?
I have worked as a consultant. I had a previous existence career as a consulting engineer. And so I let my license lapse because I do a lot of teaching now. But I let my license lapse in professional engineering, but I had a professional engineering license. And so I still do consulting adjacent to people working on river restoration projects in particular. So I was doing some of that and some of the research science.
We had brought up with you earlier a conversation where you were talking about river restoration, but you also had brought up something about dams and how you used to fix or take away dams. Yeah. Can you go into that? Because when we were talking about that earlier, I was like, I can't bring that up now. But
what's the deal with that? Yeah.
Yeah, what's going on there? What were you doing with dams and rivers and indigenous populations? What's going on there? Please explain. I think that's really fascinating.
Okay, so fish, right? They're born or they're hatched in the rivers. They swim out to the ocean to live their life as adults, and then they return back to their stream. There's many fish that are like that. It's not just the salmon. And when dams are put in place, they stop that from happening. The fish can't swim past a concrete wall. It's a barrier like any wall, right? It stops the movement. And so salmon are incredibly important to many people. It's your food after the cold time of the winter. And to not have those is really problematic. And it also, the ecosystem sort of unravels. There's so many things that depend on the fish. So many people are involved in the process of removing the dams completely. They just take them out or whatever you might imagine. You have to,
hammer and chisel.
yeah, just like a little jackhammer and go at it. But sometimes it is that simple. But there's work that's done behind the scenes to make the plans for how that's going to work. Usually without the chisels, but sometimes with the jackhammers. Yeah.
So were you manning the jackhammer?
I was not womaning or manning I did none of that. I was like a bossy pants in the office with the the plans, but putting the plans together. So it takes a lot of science of understanding the river system to do that in a way that will benefit the river and not make a mess for the people. Because people don't like it, like when their bridge washes out, little things like that. They get really upset. So yeah, it's to make sure that it's still done safely for the people while benefiting the animals and the...
So do you teach a class on dam dismantling here at Landmark?
I teach a class in freshwater science.
Ooh.
So the class is a class where we spend a lot of time looking at rivers and talking a lot about the interactions that are part of the whole ecosystem. And that includes fish and mussels, our freshwater mussels and beavers and the trees, but it is really important to acknowledge it also includes the people. And there's a long history of humans living here on this land for 12,000, 13,000 years in one way, and then in the past 200, people living here in a different way. And so we talk a lot about what those differences are, some of which we know, a lot of which we don't, because a lot of information, a lot of knowledge has been lost. Or for very fair reasons, people are unwilling to share some of that knowledge. So we talk about that whole system, the ecology of the whole river system.
That is really fascinating because one of the things that I think our students are probably interested about is that you're one of the few people on campus who can talk to them about rivers, and you can talk to them about like all of these ecosystems, because if you haven't noticed, there's like water all around this campus. What are some ways that if students were like, hey, I really like what you're talking about, how can I just go do that? Like, how can I just go and study rivers and water? How does one get into that if they're interested?
You go to the river.
Okay.
You sit your butt down.
I'm there.
And pay attention. Yeah, pay attention. There's so much to be said, and especially in a place with the neurodivergence, many different ways of seeing the world. That's where knowledge is gained, is by letting your own relationship build with the place where you are. I mean, and sometimes our minds get busy, but when I learn things and when my colleagues learn things, really, it's when we stop like the noise and just pay attention. Yeah, if you want to know something about a river or a forest or a mountain, go be there and pay attention. If you want to take classes, classes are great too.
Please.
Yeah, so I think my classes are great. Freshwater science. I teach a class in global environmental change where we talk about how the human relations with the land are changing and how that causes physical changes in the environment. Methods of environmental research, how a person might go about doing something like studying a river or a forest or whatever it is out there in the world. What else do I teach? Right now, I'm teaching the capstone in biology. We're doing projects, really super fun projects of all kinds. So yeah, that's a sampling. What I'm up to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you wish students would come talk to you about outside of the classroom?
Oh, I mean, I love talking to students about whatever it is they're interested in. The thing about the environment, right, is the environment is what's around us. It's pretty much everywhere. You can't not be in the environment. You know, students show me their favorite rocks, show me a good rock. I mean, yeah, I love talking to students about the environment of any kind.
Well, then how do students find you? Where's your office? Where do you meet them?
How do students find me? So I am on the second floor of the STEM building. My schedule is very helpfully posted on my wall. And there's a QR code to set up appointments also. So people can set up an appointment or come in my open office hours.
Well, then let me ask you this. Can you describe your favorite sandwich?
Oh, my favorite sandwich
Is
right
it made
now.
with lawn ingredients as well?
My favorite sandwich does have some lawn ingredients in it, as it turns out. Right now, my favorite sandwich is actually a fried egg sandwich. I'm like so into my fried egg sandwiches. Just
Okay.
like
Talk me through that process.
the perfect toast. Well, I can't eat bread
Yeah.
because I have a wheat allergy. And gluten-free bread is really hard to get right. So there's always like right now, my favorite sandwich thing is like, I got the gluten-free bread to toast correctly. And it requires first putting it in the toaster oven on bake
Okay.
for at least 5 minutes.
Okay.
And then second step, and usually 10 is better, but if you're in a rush, 5 minutes will work.
Okay.
And then you toast it just the right amount, but you got to keep an eye on it because if it's under toasted, it's too mushy. Over toasted, you're going to be scraping the black stuff off. So you got to get it perfect. And if you get it perfect, you just won the day right off the bat. And then you could put anything on it. But a fried egg, fried to perfection.
How? Is it a sunny side, over hard, over easy,
In
scrambled?
butter and oil.
Oil.
Okay. What kind of oil?
Yeah. What kind of oil? Usually it's a sunflower oil. Usually it's a light oil. If there happens to be a little bit of bacon fat around, a little bit of touch of bacon fat is kind of the thing. Butter also, I prefer butter, but I am also not good at it. I have allergies to the dairy, so that's unfortunate. So yeah, it's oil, get the egg in, and I actually break up the yolk. Just you have to get that right, and you have to break up the white so that it spreads out just right. You got to get it spread out.
Do you salt
correctly.
and pepper it though?
Oh my gosh, both sides.
Paprika?
Yes, please. Paprika's good, but it's not required. That's a good point. Maybe I should be paying attention to the paprika.
Now, what about the condiments though?
The condiments, if there's horseradish, that's really the way to go. Not for you, huh?
Not horseradish?
That was the wrong thing.
There's only one type of horseradish I've ever liked, and maybe you all probably haven't had it because this is probably going to show where I'm from and how I grew up.
Yeah.
Arby's horsey sauce. Arby's horsey sauce is the end-all be-all. I'm just letting you all know right now, horseradish. Now, get the derivative.
And then plenty of spicy greens, actually. The bitter spicy greens go on top of that.
Like
That's
cilantro?
the lawn stuff. No, it's like a bitter lettuce.
Okay.
Yeah, bitter and spicy.
Well, folks, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for taking the time to come in and join us for another conversation. Denise, thank you for being here and talking with us. It
Thank
means
you
a
so
whole
much.
lot. Yes. And folks, I hope that you will come back again for our next episode. And until then, take good care, be well, and we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.